Hey there everyone, this is Samuel Johnson and welcome back to the Phantom Perspectives, and today we're going to be discussing episode 40 of Danny Phantom Infinite Realms, and I apologize for the light right here. I'm currently in my pajamas. I'm doing this pretty early in the morning, so I apologize in advance for all this stuff, but in this episode, it opens with Danny, Sam, and Tucker lost. They are inspecting the ghost zone and trying to map it out, but unfortunately they can't really find anything. Unfortunately, they have no idea where they're going. However, as such, they decide to follow these two ghosts, and they wind up in this frozen realm where they're attacked by this weird Yeti ghost with ice horns and ice arm and so forth. Danny puts up a good fight. Danny does manage to fight it, but he sees the reason why it's acting up is because it's got a shard of ice embedded in the base of its neck. Danny manages to blast it, and that in turn causes it to calm down. However, this ghost now, which it's a stupid plot point. It's one of those basic. Because the monster was nice the whole time, yada yada, whatever. It's just it's just dumb. Still don't like that. But anyway, once they free this creature, it reveals that its name is Frostbite, and that it starts calling Danny the savior of the ghost zone. On top of this, I also forgot to mention that Tucker and Sam are in the Spectre speeder, and that got trashed when they came into the frozen realm. So they say they can repair it, and they have a way of helping Danny. They say they can repair it, and so it turns out the reason that they consider Danny the savior is because of his battle with Pariah Dark in Rainstorm. As such, he's considered a savior because of that. I'm guessing only the Yetis, these ghost Yetis consider Danny a savior, considering that all the other ghosts see Danny as an enemy. But Danny says that the one thing they need right now is to find a way home, and so Frostbite says that they have that. As such, he brings Danny to where they keep. Hold on a sec. Anyway, sorry. They bring Danny to an artifact that they have called the Infamap. Essentially, it's a map that can lead whoever has it to anywhere in the ghost zone, including entrances to and from the ghost zone. It turns out that the Fenton portal and Vlad's portal aren't the only ways in and out of the ghost zone. Occasionally, gateways open up to random points on Earth, and on top of that, these gateways sometimes don't lead out the same way they came in. Like some can take you to other time periods, and sometimes some can take you to different locations. Pretty much just, it leads to anywhere at any time, any place. But however, they don't stay open very long. Like one of the examples they list is the Bermuda Triangle, and thus, unfortunately, if you don't get back to the portal before it closes, you're essentially screwed. As such, Frostbite says he wants to accompany Danny and Co. when they use the map, and he tells them the only thing he has to do is say where they want to go, and the map will take them there. As such, Danny absentmindedly says, so all I have to do is just say, take me home, and the map will do it, and right then and there, the map takes Danny, Sam, and Tucker back to the Fenton portal without Frostbite, who didn't give him enough warning. As such, they go back there, and Sam thinks that they should just probably return the Infamap while they can. Well, they can, but Danny says that he can just. But Danny decides that he's just going to have some fun with it first. In the meantime, we see Vlad, who apparently passes the time now by spying on people, which is very creepy, and kind of weird. And I have no idea, and it's just weird, so weird that I don't know if that's in or out of character for him. And it turns out he has a little spy cam set up in the Fentons, and as he's watching them, he sees Danny, Sam, and Tucker with the Infamap, and it turns out he's aware of it, which I guess that kind of makes sense. He has a book with all the artifacts, and he knew about the skeleton key, so I guess he would know about some of that stuff. But otherwise, he sees that they have the Infamap, and decides that he wants it for himself. So he has the drone stowaway in a backpack that Sam has, and so Danny, Sam, and Tucker use the Infamap to just go around the ghost zone, seeing all these weird sights. Like there's a carnivorous canyon, which actually, that is exactly what it was called, the carnivorous canyon. There was also this river whose name I forgot, but it's apparent. But this monster this monster inside it that belches. But they also find a couple portals. One leads to the 1940s under a kid's bed, where Danny just scares the mom and kid. But the next one leads them to Salem, Massachusetts during the witch trials, and unfortunately Sam gets accused of being a witch while they're there. And to make it even worse, it turns out that Vlad was able to get there first. How? I don't know. Like, because all we know, he's just watching them, so I don't know how he got there first. I guess maybe he flew in after them and found another portal, though the odds of them finding that portal were kind of low, but I don't know. But what? I don't know, but somehow he's there first. He convinces the villagers that Sam is a witch, and in and when Danny tries to save her, he ends up stopping him with the ghost equivalent of kryptonite. It's called a blood rose, I think. I think so. Like, it turns out that that the Fentons have an ancestor there. His name's John Fenton, and yes, he looks exactly like Jack Fenton, except he's somehow from Salem. He has it as she spread these out around Sam, so now Danny can't enter Danny can enter. Like Vlad describes these flowers as an old time version as a proto specter deflector. Pretty much, if Danny gets anywhere near them, they hurt him. So Vlad, of course, throws Danny right into it, so he can't do anything. And when Tucker tries to go save them, Vlad grabs the infomap and flies off without them. As such, the only way they can, while Tucker is able to pull Danny out of the blood roses, they can't actually do it. It's still hurting him, so Tucker has to eat them, which doesn't actually agree with him because he's only eaten meat in his whole life. So, this little callback to the first episode. But as such, with the bloodweed gone, Danny frees Sam, and they fly back through the ghost portal, and they need to find out where Vlad is. Thankfully, they discovered the tracker in Sam's backpack when they were still in Salem, and Tucker threw it at Vlad before he left. So now he synced his PDA up to it, and now they're tracking Vlad wherever he goes. And pretty much they just kind of go all these different places. Like they go to Rome, where Vlad's become emperor by deifying himself. They go back to China. They go to China where he tried fighting all these monks to try and become their leader. And then even going back to the Wright brothers, to the Wright brothers' first test flight of their plane to try and shoot it down and alter history, only for Danny to fix everything. Only for Danny to come in and fix it. Pretty much wherever Vlad goes, that Danny, Sam, and Tucker are right behind him, but to the point where he decides to just throw them in a bubble rather than destroying them. And he tells the map that if this thing doesn't bring him if the map doesn't bring him to his destiny, then he's just going to destroy it. So it's best if it just brings him to where he needs to, his destiny. So the map brings him to what he thinks is his destiny. Only it turns out it leads him back to the frozen wastelands where Frostbite and his clan live, and they proceed to freeze him completely solid. As such, Danny, Sam, and Tucker go there, where the Spectre Speeder is now completely fixed. They apologize for what they've done. Frostbite's actually completely fine understanding. He takes the infomap back, and Danny, Sam, and Tucker leave, and the episode ends with the reveal that Vlad is now a frozen sculpture that's being propped up in Amity Park as a statue because people are idiots. So, yeah. What do I think of the episode? Still dumb. But unlike last week, this was actually a fun kind of dumb. Like, last week was just a dumb. Like, it was just bad. Like, you could tell the writing took like a downward turn in last week's episode, with like Vlad doing something that even for him felt very petty and too far, even for like he did something like his plan with just kind of being a troll to Danny felt too petty even for him. Some characters being flanderized, some characters being slightly flanderized, which wouldn't be too bad if it was only a one-time offense, which from what I've heard it isn't. But even just the general pacing and the progression of the episode. But this one does have that a bit with Vlad, who apparently is now spending his free time just spying on people, and even has a little cat that he calls Maddie. I'm guessing he's turning into the Mr. Crocker of the series by just being a lonely old shut-in. But pretty much the whole premise of the episode is kind of fun. Like, it's a stupid kind of fun. Like, it's stupid, but it's fun. Like, seeing them fly around the ghost into all these different time periods and trying to get through them. It's actually, and it's Vlad, and just trying to fight Vlad in all these different terrains. I think it's pretty interesting. I actually kind of, because I liked that. It was dumb, don't get me wrong, like Vlad deifying himself or fighting through all the monks. So the fact that he was able to turn, somehow he got to Salem, Massachusetts before the group did. Which it doesn't make even sense because he was tracking them, but I kind of like the whole thing. It's just, it is dumb, like seeing Vlad and trying to do all these things and have Danny somehow be there, but it's like the fun kind of dumb, if that makes any sense. Like seeing Danny in a Roman Coliseum, like seeing Danny fight Vlad in the Roman Coliseum and seeing them go to Salem, Massachusetts, which yeah, it still was dumb seeing the Fentons had a ancestor that was there, but at the same time, it was still kind of nice seeing them in this different and seeing this in this strange environment. I actually did like the scene where when they were in the 1940s, there were a lady try to quote. I forgot the person. Dang it! Got it. I know his name too. Carter, I think. I don't know. I'm trying to remember. No. We have nothing to fear but fear itself. I know that was the quote. I don't remember what it was. I know who it is too, and I completely forgot. I'm so sorry. It's basic. This should be basic. I'm so sorry, but yeah, apparently the lady gets the quote wrong, so Danny corrects her, freaking them out, which I thought was funny. And that's gonna bug me for the rest of the day, isn't it? That's gonna bug me for the rest of the day. I think it was Carter, but it might be wrong. But either way, but whatever. So. Sorry, that's gonna bug me now. I'm sorry about this. I'm getting off topic. This is just gonna keep bugging me. But anyway, so, anyways, I kind of just like seeing all those environments, and yeah, it was kind of weird. It did kind of feel a little dumb that Vlad kept trying to that somehow they were part of all this, but at the same time, it was just really fun seeing them go through all this. Again, it did kind of have some mischaracter. It did kind of feel like a bit of Flanderization for Vlad in this, but at the same time, it kind of. Because I felt like Vlad just wanted something that... Because, well, Vlad is kind of a power-hungry guy. All he really wants... I don't think he would go to these lengths, because I think he was satisfied with where he was. In fact, the only reason he became mayor was to screw with Danny in the first place. But, so, it doesn't really make a lot of sense for his motivations, considering that he kind of was where he wanted to be, and the only reason he wasn't fully happy was because the one thing he wanted was a family with Maddie, and so with Maddie and Danny as his family, but... Otherwise, but yeah, so that didn't make a lot of sense in the context of the episode, but then again, he also did something with the skeleton key, so that would make a lot of, so I guess you could say he still craved power, but I don't know, so, I don't know, maybe you could say that, I don't know, you can make arguments to and from, I just kind of think it's a little bit of a stretch, not by a lot, but still a little bit, but again, it was still fun seeing these different environments, seeing how it was, yeah, sorry, I'm getting sidetracked again. It was cool seeing all these varied environments, and I did like seeing and while it was dumb, kind of the ending where they confused Vlad for a statue, at the same time, it was a little funny, if just for the stupidity. So, yeah. There was one running gag with Tucker because his body wasn't used to the vegetables, he was constantly needing to go to the bathroom. I didn't care much for that. And again, there was still the whole thing with the Fentons having an ancestor in Salem, Massachusetts, which I just did find to be completely dumb. So there was that. But I found that, but I still liked the whole. But again, there's still enough aspects of the episode that I thought were still entertaining. And I actually did like seeing Frostbite and his tribe. While we didn't see a lot of them, it was kind of nice seeing another friendly ghost here. It was nice seeing another friendly ghost, so that was kind of cool. Seeing him actually kind of deifying Danny, but more so in that Danny's considered a savior. I liked that. And on top of that, there was some small hinting towards something that's going to happen later in the series, where he says that Danny will be back because he has more in common with these guys than the Frost guys than he knows. So that's set up for later. So, but on the whole, it's a perfectly fun episode. Stupid, but it's the fun kind of stupid. It's definitely entertaining and just good for a few laughs here. And just good for a few laughs and a good time here and there. I also liked the designs of the Ghost Zone when they were traveling through it, so. Yeah, on the whole, stupid episode, but a fun episode, so. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. I'm Samuel Johnson, and I will see you next week. Take care.